Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you books that I want to reread in the near future. Well, maybe not near future, but maybe within the next year. I basically divided it into two categories. So the first category are books that I read at least a few years ago. So I maybe remember only some main events and not details, or maybe I barely remember anything because I have a bad memory. And the second category are books I've read quite recently, maybe this year or last year, but I just loved them so much I want to read them again and experience them again. These are the two categories. I haven't reread that many books in my entire life. So basically, I started rereading Vampire Academy, but I only reread 3 of them. I still have 3 left. Apart from that, I don't recall really rereading any other books. So I feel like it's time. It's because my TBR is so long and it has so many exciting books and so many new stories and adventures. So I just keep reading the new books. But now I'm thinking that rereading books can also be fun, and I want to give it a go. I do enjoy rereading Vampire Academy, so let me know how often do you guys reread books. I'm very curious. I actually opened my Goodreads here, and I have some pretty old books that I read a few years ago, maybe even in high school. Yeah, I think a lot of them I read in high school. I would like to talk about some of these books on my channel, but because I don't remember what I liked or what I didn't like about them, I cannot really talk about them. So I need to reread them in order to be able to talk about them on my channel. So I think we can get started with the list. So the first one is The Shining, and I mentioned it actually in my books I want to read by the end of the year video. So I gave it 4 stars, but I do remember enjoying it a lot. I think you guys all know the story. So Jack is offered a job as an off-season caretaker at this hotel, so he goes there with his family, and yeah, it is a horror book, so things get creepy. Basically, I think most people do know this story. There is another book. So I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen King. So I remember I read 4 books by him. Still have a lot more on my TBR, but I read 4 books. And I remember I enjoyed 2 of them and I hated 2 of them. So the second book that I do remember enjoying was Pet Sematary. So I feel like that one I also will have to reread. I don't even have the rating for that because I read it even before I had Goodreads. So I don't even know what I rated it. I mean, I never rated anything, but I do remember enjoying it. So Pet Sematary is another horror book that I would want to reread and just see whether I still enjoy it. Okay, next we've got City of Bones, and not only City of Bones, but the Mortal Instruments series in general. Now, this used to be my second favorite book series. So my top series was Vampire Academy. Of course, now it has changed, but I mean, when I was in high school, Vampire Academy, and then the Mortal Instruments was right below it. I was obsessed with it, and I gave all of the books 5 stars. Now, if I reread it, I feel like it will change. But yeah, we'll see. I have no idea. I don't remember a lot of what is happening, but it's basically a fantasy series about these shadow hunters who are fighting these monsters and different creatures. It's their job to do that. And our protagonist Clary gets I don't remember how was she recruited to become a shadow hunter, but she does become one. So, and this series actually has 6 books, so that's a lot. I'm sure a lot happened in this series, but I just don't remember it. So I wanna reread it and refresh my memory. Okay, next we've got Hunger Games. So actually I only read the first book. I'm not sure why. I remember back in my hometown I used to have the entire trilogy I'm not sure why I never got to reading the other two books. I did give the first book 5 stars, so it seemed like I enjoyed it a lot. I'm not sure why I never read the other books. I did watch all of the movies from what I remember, so maybe after watching the movies I thought I don't need to read the books, I don't know. But anyway, I would gladly read the first book and then read the other two, just because it's an iconic book and I feel like I will enjoy it a lot. Okay, so the next book series trilogy that I want to reread is quite an interesting one, and probably many of you haven't heard about it. So it was originally written in German. I remember I read it in Polish. I've never read it in English, but the first book is called Reread, and the entire series is called Precious Stone Trilogy. It is about like time travel sort of thing, and I remember literally laughing out loud while reading this. And it used to be like my third top series. So it used to be Vampire Academy, The Mortal Instruments, and Precious Stone Trilogy, like my top 3. And I also gave all of these books 5 stars in this trilogy. But yeah, it's been such a long time since I read it, so I cannot even tell you whether I recommend it or not. But I do want to reread it, so I guess I'll let you know whether I can recommend it or not. Next one is Throne of Glass. So I also only read the first book. I think it was when I read it, it was around the time when I was getting into the biggest reading slump of my life that lasted a few years. I know that's crazy, but so I think that's why I never continued this series. But honestly, I remember nothing. I remember nothing about this series or what happened. So I'm very excited to reread it and read the next books in the series. So like I said, I also want to finish rereading Vampire Academy. I still have 3 books left. So that's probably my priority at the moment. And the next one is also interesting because I technically gave this book 1 star, and that is Shatter Me. But the series is so loved that honestly I want to give it one more chance, and I just want to see whether I still hate it. Now, I don't remember exactly what I hated, but I think it was the writing. Also, keep in mind that I did read it in Polish, so I'm not sure what writing in English is like. So that's why I think I should reread it in English. But there was something that I just didn't like about this book. I think I didn't even finish it. I DNF'd it. I am curious because so many people love this series. I'm just want to reread it and see what the hype is about, you know. Let me know if you've read the Shatter Me series and what do you think about it, and should I reread it or not. Next one, this one also used to be one of my favorites, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. This one, I think I need to reread it soon. So there's like 2 more books in the series, but I never got around to reading them. But this used to be my ultimate favorite book. And it's basically a Rainbow Rowell. She wrote this book called Fangirl. I also read it, but I do not want to reread it. But anyway, the girl that was writing fan fiction about this wizard called Simon Snow. Then Rainbow Rowell went on and made a separate book about this Simon Snow, and I just loved it so much. It is an LGBTQ+ representation, and I just love this book so much. I mean, from what I remember, but I feel like when I reread it, I will still love it. Okay, next one is literally one of my favorite series of all time. And we're already getting to the second category, so we're done with the books that I read in the past. Now we're in the books that I've read more recently. So this duology, I read it last year, but honestly, I'm slowly starting to forget like the details, so I want to reread it, and that is Six of Crows duology. This, it's very strange. I'm sure I loved way more quotes. I need to annotate it more, and I just want to refresh in my memory, and it's literally one of the best series of all time, so I do want to reread it for sure. And the next one, this one I read this year, so I'm probably not gonna reread it anytime soon. But you know, maybe next year, once I'm starting to forget the details of this book, this series, then I will want to reread it, and that is The Cruel Prince or the Folk of the Air trilogy. This is also one of my favorites, so I definitely want to reread it and experience it again. Okay, and the last book that I literally finished reading like a few days ago is Divine Rivals. Obviously, I'm not going to reread it like anytime soon, but again, like next year, I might want to reread it because it's currently my favorite book of all time. I loved it so much. I even annotated quite a lot, but I might want to annotate more while I'm rereading it, who knows. So I just want to reread it because I love it so much. Okay guys, so that is my current list of books that I want to reread. I will try to get into it slowly, you know, maybe one book a month or something like that, because like I said, I still want to be reading new books. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!